Hi everyone, today we're going to do section 2.5. This is one of the harder lessons in algebra, so I just want you to bear with me, write down everything in the notes, and then we're going to do a bunch of problems in class. So don't get too nervous if you're having trouble understanding everything in the video. Section 2.5, top of your notes, literal equation is an equation that involves two or more variables. So we're going to be seeing more than one variable in these equations. Sometimes you're going to see only variables. Here's an example, or 2x plus y equals 16. I take that back, only variables will be in the formulas. Okay, so part 1, rewriting literal equations. So what we're going to do, we have this equation, 4 equals 2m minus 5n, and they want to solve it so it's for m. What that means is they want m equals, and then the rest of the stuff on the other side. And then we'll do part 2. So part 1, let's take our equation here. We have 4 equals 2m minus 5n. So we need to start peeling things away. We need to get rid of the n, and we're going to add 5n to both sides so that we can start getting things away from the variable m. 4 plus 5n, you can't combine them. They're not like terms. You can't make it like 9n. So what you're going to do, and I always put the variable one first, 5n plus 4 equals 2m. So you can't put these two together, so you just write them down. The 4 was positive, that's why it's plus 4. The 5n was positive, so it's 5n. Now you're almost there, except you have a 2 by your m. We just want m equals, so we need to divide everything by 2. And now this should kind of look familiar, this left side to you. So we're left with m here, m equals, and I always put it on the left side. Over here on our left side in the last step, remember in last chapter we simplified this by dividing this 2 into both of these terms here. 5n divided by 2 would be 5n over 2 plus 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now, if you don't like this way, you could also write m equals, and then 5n over 2 is like the same as 5 divided by 2. 5 divided by 2 is 2.5 n plus our 2. So if you don't like this fraction here, you can simplify it to a decimal. Generally, it's easier to work with fractions. So that's part 1. Part 2 says, what are the values of m when n equals negative 2, 0, and 2? So what we're going to do is we're going to substitute in, and I'm going to use our first equation here, m equals 5 over 2 times, and then n is negative 2, plus 2. So all I did was I took the value that they're giving me, negative 2, and I'm plugging it into my equation. You could do it here or here, and I'm going to simplify. So 5 over 2 times negative 2, these cancel out. I'll be left with negative 5 plus 2, m equals, so that would be negative 5 plus 2, negative 3. You may also use a calculator, this whole chapter I told you. So you could do 2.5 times negative 2, and then add 2 to that, and you'll get negative 3. Now we do it again for the next number. M equals 5 over 2 times 0 plus 2. This is 0, so m just equals 2. And the last one, m equals 5 over 2 times 2 plus 2. These two cancel out, 5 plus 2, m equals 7. Okay, let's try another one. Solve an equation 2y plus 8x equals negative 16 for the variable y. So we want y equals. All right, let's start out with that. 2y plus 8x equals negative 16. Need to get rid of the x first because we just want y alone. So we're going to subtract it over to the other side. Those equal 0. 2y equals, when you can't put these together, they're not like terms. Remember, I put the x in front, or the variable in front. All I did here, look, this is a negative 8x. I put it right here, negative 8x. This is a negative 16, so I wrote negative 16 or minus 16. Can't have the 2y. I just want y equals, so I divide by 2. I divide this whole thing by 2. Y equals, and again I'm going to distribute my 2 here. Negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4x. 16 divided by 2 is 8, but there was a minus right here, so minus 8. Okay, part 2, we're going to plug in n equals, or I'm sure I meant to probably say x there, x equals negative 1, 0, and 1. So I'm going to plug those in. Y equals negative 4 times negative 1 minus 8. So that would be 4, take away 8, y equals negative 4. Plug in the next one. Y equals negative 4 times 0 minus 8. 4 times 0 is 0 minus 8. Y equals negative 8. Last one. Y equals negative 4 times 1 minus 8. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4 minus 8. Y equals negative 12. So again, all I did was take each one of these values here and I plugged them in for the x in our equation. Okay, part 2, formulas. A formula is an equation that states the relationship among quantities. So these are formulas that you've seen, should have seen them in elementary school. Area equals length times width, or circumference equals 2 pi r. And what we're going to do is we're going to manipulate these formulas. We're going to move them around so that it's a variable equals the rest of the formula. And this helps us when we're solving things. That's why we learn how to do this. So part 2, rewriting formulas. This is number 1 that we're going to work on. Solve this equation here for b. So I want b equals and all the other stuff on the other side. So I'm looking in this equation. I see b right here and right here. So I have 2 b's in that problem. I need to only get them together and have 1. So what I'm going to do is something called the reverse distributive. I'm going to pull out, they both have this b. And the real name for reverse distributive is called factoring. So I pull out a b, and in this grouping here, I'll be left with a, and I have this minus. And if I pull out a b here, I'll be left with c equals cd. The reason why I did that, now I only have one variable of b to work with. And I'm almost there. I have b times this whole thing. Well, I want to get rid of that whole thing, so it's just b equals. So to undo multiplying this, I'm going to divide by this whole difference of a minus c to both sides. Those two will cancel out because multiplying and dividing are opposites. I'm left with b equals, and you just have cd over a minus c. That's it. You don't need to do anything more. You are done. Okay, let's try one more, and then that'll be it for the video. All right, solving for x here. So to solve for x, I see an x here and an x here. I'm going to do the factoring that I was just talking about. I'll be left with m in this group, and I'll be left with r in that group with a plus in the middle. Still equals n. So I need to get rid of that that's being multiplied to my x. Okay, those cancel out. X equals n divided by the sum of m plus r. Okay, again, I hope you wrote down all the notes, and we will do a bunch more in class. Have a good night.